Here's the thing. Most people think their money problems come from not earning enough or not knowing how to invest. But for a huge chunk of people, the real problem is much simpler and way more uncomfortable. You're spending money to manage your image in front of other people. And the worst part, you might not even realize you're doing it. Today, we're going to break down what I call the silent comparison trap, how your friends, your group chats, and your feed are silently making you poor. We'll look at the math, the psychology, and some brutally practical steps to get out of this mess without becoming a hermit. Let's start with a hard truth. You never see the full financial picture of the people you're comparing yourself to. You see income signals, the car they drive, the vacations they post, the restaurants they show on stories, but you never see their credit score, the overdraft fees, or the fights they have about money at 2 a.m. Studies in the US have shown that around 40 to 45% of people who earn over $100,000 a year still live paycheck to paycheck. That means almost half of the people who look successful from the outside are one or two missed paychecks away from panic mode. Here's what most people don't realize. When your friend posts that beach vacation or that brand new car, your brain doesn't think, wow, they might have taken on a ton of debt for that. Your brain thinks, I'm behind, I need to catch up. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, but I don't copy my friends. I make my own decisions. Maybe, but there's a concept in psychology called social proof. When everyone around you behaves a certain way, your brain assumes that's normal and safe, even when it's financially stupid. If all your friends lease cars, taking on never-ending payments, that becomes your default option. If everyone in your circle eats out 4 to 5 times a week, that feels normal. If everyone vacations abroad every year, staycation feels like failure. Let's walk through a simple story. Imagine two friends, Laura and Martha. Both earn $2,000 a month after taxes. Laura hangs out with people who love flexing. New phones, drinks out twice a week, annual trip to somewhere Instagram-worthy. Martha hangs out with more low-key friends. Same money, different environment. Laura decides she deserves a nicer car like everyone else, so she upgrades to a car that costs her $350 a month in payments instead of the $80 she was paying for her old used car. She also spends around $300 a month eating out and drinks, plus $150 in little subscriptions and impulse purchases, trying to keep up. So Laura's extra keeping up costs, car $270, eating out $200, subscriptions $150. That's $620 a month. Martha, on the other hand, drives a paid-off beater, eats out once a week, doesn't care about the latest iPhone, and spends maybe $200 on fun total. So after everything, Martha can save $400 a month, while Laura saves basically zero. Over 10 years, if Martha invests $400 a month at a modest 7% annual return, she ends up with around $69,000, $70,000. Laura, who looked richer for a decade, still has nothing, except the long history of payments and maybe a car that's worth a fraction of what she paid. Same income, totally different friend groups, totally different future. Now, add social media to that. Your offline friend group might be 5 or 10 people. Online, your brain is comparing you to hundreds of people at once, most of whom only show their top 1% highlight moments. You see the guy who travels nonstop, the friend who just bought an apartment, the influencer with designer clothes, the couple that always goes to fancy restaurants. Your brain mixes all of that into one imaginary average person and decides, this is what normal success looks like. If I'm not there, I'm behind. No single person is living all of those moments all the time. You're comparing your worst financial day to everyone else's best day combined. And because our brains hate feeling left out, you start making money decisions not based on what you want, but based on not being the one who has less. Let's talk about what's going on in your head. There are a few psychological triggers at play here. Loss aversion, status insecurity, present bias. Humans hate losing more than they like winning. Saying no to a trip or a purchase feels like losing social status or experiences, so you accept losing money instead. Money loss is invisible. Social loss is immediate. Money has become the easiest scoreboard for status. When your status feels shaky, you'll overspend to signal that you're doing fine, even if your bank account is screaming. Your brain heavily discounts the future. Saving $300 a month for old me is less exciting than having the new gadget or going on the trip with your friends right now. The more stressed you feel about money, the more likely you are to overspend to escape that feeling. This is why some of the people in the biggest financial holes still keep buying things they can't afford. For a moment, the purchase feels like relief, like belonging. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but if I stop doing all this, won't I be lonely or left out? That's the fear the silent comparison trap feeds on. Let's rip off the Band-Aid and look at some numbers. Say you drive a slightly nicer car, extra $200 a month. Eat out and order delivery more often, extra $150 a month. Buy nicer clothes and gadgets, extra $100 a month. One can't really afford this trip, $100 a month. That's $550 every month disappearing into lifestyle inflation. If you're 25 and you do this until you're 35, that's 10 years. If instead you invested that $550 every month at 7%, after 10 years, roughly 92,000, 95,000 euros. By 45, around 260,000, 280,000 euros. By 55, about 550,000 euros plus. All from not upgrading as much as your friends. This is what most people don't realize. Your small upgrades are costing you hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I don't want to live like a monk. Good, you shouldn't. The goal isn't to never spend money. The goal is to spend intentionally, not reactively. Set a fun budget, say 10 to 20% of your income, that you can blow guilt-free. The problem isn't fun. The problem is when your entire lifestyle is built on impressing people who wouldn't bail you out if things went wrong. Another objection. My friends will think I'm cheap if I stop saying yes to everything. Here's the thing. Real friends might be surprised at first, but they'll adapt, or they'll show you their true colors. You can say things like, I'm working on a big financial goal right now, so I'm cutting back on X, but I'm down for Y. I'd love to hang, but this month is a stay-in month for me. Come over, I'll cook. The people who respect that are your people. The ones who mock you are bad influences with good Instagram feeds. But experiences are more valuable than money. Sure, some experiences are, but not all experiences are equal. Spending $1,200 on a trip that sets you back for months might not be more valuable than the peace of having an emergency fund. The trick is choosing a few high-impact experiences instead of trying to say yes to everything. Let's use some analogies to reframe this. Keeping up with your friends financially is like running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're exhausted, but you're still in the same place. Investing and living slightly below your friend's lifestyle is like taking an elevator. It's slower to start, but over time, you end up way higher with less effort. Your friend's lifestyle is the tip of the iceberg, the visible part. The invisible part is their debt, their interest payments, their financial anxiety. Comparing your whole life to someone else's tip of the iceberg is a guaranteed way to feel behind. The silent comparison trap is like a parasite that eats a small piece of every paycheck. It's not dramatic enough for you to notice day to day, but over years, it devours what could have been your freedom. Okay, enough theory. Let's make this actionable. Step 1. For 1 month, track every expense where the main driver was other people. Ask yourself, would I still spend this if nobody knew about it? Be brutally honest. You'll probably find certain restaurants are about status, not food. Clothes are about image, not comfort. Trips are about content, not rest. At the end of the month, if that number is, say, 300, you've just found the first chunk of your future wealth. Step 2. Design your own rich life. Most people never actually define what rich means for them. They just copy whatever the group is doing. Sit down and write 3 things you genuinely care about spending more on, and 3 things you're willing to spend almost nothing on. If travel is important, cool. Just decide that means you won't also have the newest phone and the fanciest car and weekly restaurant flexes. Step 3. Build friction between you and impulse purchases. You don't need superhuman willpower, you need systems. Delete saved cards from shopping apps. Put a 24-hour rule on big purchases. Turn off push notifications. The goal is to make copying your friends slightly annoying and sticking to your plan easier. Step 4. You don't have to cut everyone off, but you do need at least a couple of people who get what you're trying to do. If you absolutely can't find that offline, start online. Follow people whose lifestyles are calm, not flashy, and whose idea of success includes freedom, not just stuff. Here's a question that can change how you see money. Do you want to look rich or do you want to be rich? Looking rich feels good fast, destroys your margin for error, and ties your self-worth to other people's reactions. Being rich often looks boring from the outside, but gives you options and lets you sleep at night. Most people are stuck in the middle. They're just leaking money trying to keep up. You can be quietly rich long before you look rich. The money you don't spend whispering, "Look at me," is the money that quietly compounds in the background. So here's a challenge. For the next 12 months, stop playing the game of who looks like they're winning right now. Start playing the game of who will actually be free 10 years from now. Driving a car that's less impressive but fully paid. Saying no to a few trips and yes to an investment account. Skipping some restaurant flexes and building a real emergency fund. Decide a percentage of your income that goes automatically into savings or investments the day you get paid. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Then pick one big area of status spending and downgrade one step. Watch what happens to your stress levels over the next year. Watch how your sense of control slowly shifts from "I hope I can keep up" to "I'm building something real." Look, your friends aren't evil masterminds trying to make you poor. Most of them are also stuck in the same game. The silent comparison trap only works as long as nobody talks about it. So be the one who says, "I'm cutting back because I want to invest more. I'm okay with my older car. Freedom matters more to me. I don't need to do everything the group does." You might be surprised. Some of your friends have been waiting for someone to say that out loud. If this video helped you see your money differently, hit like so it reaches more people trapped in this same cycle. And subscribe if you want more content on the real psychology and math of money.